Excited to introduce my amazing client, Jess Shields, who just had a huge career breakthrough and she's agreed to share her story with us. So Jess, welcome. And I want to just kick it off to share where you were with your situation when you and I first met.
Absolutely. So I think for me, where I was at was mentally in a frame of mind that I constantly felt like I had to prove myself to others or prove myself to me. I had every move in my career was an advancement in every position I had taken, but I always felt or had this inkling that I was clawing my way every single time and always had to be proving something and could never just validate myself. And definitely felt like I was showing up or appearing to others with this, I was greener than I really felt like I was. I was showing up greener than I knew my skill set was.
Yeah. And I think it's huge because when you and I met and you told me the type of strategic HR work you were doing, it was clear to me you were influencing the business strategically and really showing up with executive level skills. But for you to really step into that executive identity, I'm curious, like what challenges did you have to overcome to finally see yourself that way?
Couple things. I think I had to own my confidence in loving myself hands down. And it goes back, and I say this all the time, it goes back to those 50 things. And as you've always challenged me to like evolutionize that list, but it was starting a mantra of 1 to 3 things whenever my head would get in that space of I'm not enough, I'm not quite there yet, and owning those to be truths started to fundamentally change how I showed up and started to see myself. I think the second thing was showing up and requiring or demanding the space, whether it was I remember starting this program and it was, I felt like I didn't have the space or the confidence to say, I have a question, just a basic question. And so I'd preface everything. Maybe this might be dumb. This might be a stupid question. And now I require the floor. I have to ask something. I need further clarification, and I no longer validate it. I no longer preface it. And then I truly think at the core of it, it's forgiving the past and people, but also forgiving myself and allowing myself to remove the shame or any shame I had or carried with me that didn't allow me to love myself for what I could see that I like, for the true worth that I knew that I was and am.
I think this is so powerful because you went through such a massive identity transformation, and people don't realize that if you want to see a huge breakthrough in income impact, that's you. That shift starts with you. And not only were you going through this huge transformation, you were also a brand new mother. And let's face it, most new moms are just in survival mode. So for you to actually get a breakthrough and think that you could do it while being the first year of a new mother, I would love to hear how you managed to get past let me just wait till he's a little bit older, or let me wait a few years and start to put your own career on the back burner. Not that that's a bad choice, but for you, I'm curious, how did you get past that hurdle?
Yeah, I think to that very point, you hear people who start families, particularly women who start families, and forget about the goals or change their goals to accommodate someone or something else post becoming a mom. And that's not right or wrong. For me, I knew that what I had set out to pursue since I graduated from my undergrad was a career and was to continue growing and advancing myself for a multitude of reasons. And prior to even having our son, I had started my master's shortly before we started to plan for a family. And all of these things that I was doing throughout my first decade of my career were to, again, prove to myself, but they were important to me to part of who I wanted to look back at the end of my career and see who I had become or see the things that I had done. I remember going to this conference one time where this woman CEO made the comment, women in their 40s, no, women enter the workforce in their 20s. They work hard, they work long hours, they go, 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 burn themselves out. They get to 30s, they want to start families. And many of them will decide one of two things, right? I'm going to continue to work, but I'm going to kind of work in this cloud. But I'll stay in my career, whatever. The other may stay at home. Neither are right or wrong. But women who oftentimes choose to stay in their career, show up at 40 or wake up kind of out of that cloud at 40 and look around, and there aren't a lot of women there anymore. And I think that was a switch for me in my career, where it was like, I want to be there at 40, and I don't want to be where I was at 30. I want to be farther. I want to have progressed.
I love it. And you can have both. You can have a career that aligns. And that's something you and I talked about, because that was a big weight of maybe I need to wait, right? But once you realize, hold on, I don't have to sacrifice my family. I can have both. That was a huge expansive breakthrough in your beliefs. And I think being around other women who have managed both very well is what helps to expand that vision for yourself, right? So I'm curious, where are you now? What's the outcome? Tell us what you achieved.
I thought your program for me ended with an identity change, and I just walking in and becoming this new person. And I mean, last week it was officially that career breakthrough for me. And it gives me shivers at how proud I am of myself, of how I showed up, how I owned so many things. And I showed up not having to prove or feel that I needed to prove, just showing up with the confidence of this is who I am. I am capable, I am smart, I am all of these things, but I don't have to validate that or prove that. And I know I confidently showed up differently in my interviews. And I know I did the work, right? But I credit you so much, Olivia, in your program to the fact that I am advancing. I'm continuing in my career in the direction upward that I wanted to, breaking through in that next level of leadership. And I think one thing that I'm also so excited about is not only did I do the top companies and ended up accepting an offer at my top company of my list, I stuck to my values and my needs that I outlined, including things like, yes, impact, yes, professional development and growth recognition, but also things like remote working or work-life balance. And I think that was so powerful to say, I'm not compromising. This is what I need. And I accepted a job offer with all of those things. That's pretty incredible.
And a 40% increase.
Yeah.
And another breakthrough in title, and the list goes on. I mean, I'm just like so proud of you, because you're such a model for so many women, moms, everybody watching right now. You've got to listen to this. You can actually have what you want. It's the belief that you can that allows you to hold that standard, where people get caught up as trying to convince everyone, yes, choose me, choose me, choose me. And instead you made the shift to stand in your power and say, hold on, I need to get my criteria filled, and I am not accepting any less than this. And that's where you held that bar. So you did the inner work required to actually command that value. I just want to say, like, it's an identity. Everybody wants to skip to tactics and marketing and resume. It's not at this point. To see a massive quantum leap like what you just did, that's a whole new identity. And I already see you completely transformed. Like, already was incredible rock star hyperachiever. Now you're just a total powerhouse.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think one other thing I do want to add, I know I show up for my family differently, right? Like, my son is about to turn a year in a couple of weeks, and I know I show up differently for him. I show up differently for my husband. And I hope that what I've learned and how I've transformed, he gets to take all that character building and all of that confidence into his life as he grows up. And I just feel like it transformed every aspect of my life.
Oh yeah, and the best is yet to come. You just are getting started. You have
Yeah.
got a lot of runway. I cannot wait to see your journey, and thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
I think, like you said, you have to do the work. And if you want this, you have to take the time to do the work on you, but also accept what you can't fully understand, right? Like that perfectionism mindset. You've got to accept truth and what you love about yourself right there. You don't need to continue to justify it. Do the work, invest in yourself. It's better for you, it's better for your career.
That was a mic drop moment. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Jess. I appreciate you.
Yeah.